Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. How are you? Okay, so in the last class in zoology, we discussed about half of the non-chordate. Today we are going to discuss in the second lecture of zoology, we are going to discuss the remaining non-chordates. I said we have to discuss total 11 phylum. Out of these 5 phylums we have already completed. First, Porifera, Coelentata, Ctenophora, Platyhelminth, Aschelminth already I said. Today we are going to discuss the remaining 5 phylum. Anyone will say the sequence? What is the sequence we are going to discuss today? Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata. Chordata is a separate phylum. So today we are going to discuss the remaining 5: Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata. Say again with me: Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata. So now we are going to discuss the first phylum, that is known as the Annelida. So what is the first phylum? That is the Annelida. So related with the Annelida, you have to remember very first point. This is the first phylum of animal kingdom in which true coelom is formed. True coelom is formed. True coelom means eucoelom. True coelom, and true coelom is formed by the splitting of mesoderm. It is formed by the splitting of mesoderm. True coelom is formed by the splitting of mesoderm. So if I will draw a simple diagram, see carefully towards the board. This one is the gut. Clear? Gut is lined by, this is one, it is lined by the endoderm. Endoderm. What is the outermost layer? The outermost layer, that is the ectoderm. So what is this? This is the ectoderm. And now here there is splitting of mesoderm. So when there is splitting of mesoderm, mesoderm divides into two. This is the inner layer of mesoderm. And what is this? This is the outer layer of mesoderm. So between outer layer of mesoderm, first I will do all the labeling. See carefully. This is gut, innermost, then it is the endoderm. What is this? This is the ectoderm. Here the mesoderm is getting split. This is the inner layer of mesoderm. Inner layer of mesoderm. What is this? This is the outer layer of mesoderm. And between the outer layer of mesoderm and inner layer of mesoderm, there is a true coelom that is known as the eucoelom. There is a true coelom that is known as the eucoelom. So between outer layer of mesoderm and see here different organs present in the body cavity. You have to remember. So I have drawn the diagram related with the coelom. Another very important point related with the Annelida that you have to remember, that is the segmentation. Segmentation. Segmentation, or that is also known as the metamerism. It is a very favorite question related with NEET. Segmentation or metamerism is shown by 3 phylum. First one, that is the Annelida. Second one, that is the Arthropoda. What is the second one? That is the Arthropoda. And what is the third one? That is the Chordata. So segmentation or metamerism is shown by the animals of 3 phylum: Annelida, Arthropoda and Chordata. So this is the segmentation that you have to remember. First I said true coelom, second I said segmentation. Very important. Third that you have to remember, very important, circulatory system. Circulatory system Circulatory system starts from phylum. It starts from phylum Annelida. That is very important. Circulatory system starts from phylum Annelida, and Annelida, they are having the closed circulatory system. You have to remember as per NCERT, Annelida and chordata. Annelida and chordata, they are having the closed circulatory system, whereas arthropoda and mollusca, they are having the open circulatory system. Always the efficiency of closed circulatory system is more in comparison of the open circulatory system. So this is the one. Annelida is a big phylum. I said metameric segmentation is there. There is one very important example in the Annelida, that is known as the Nereis. And related with Nereis, one point is given. They are the aquatic, they are first one, they are the dioecious. Nereis is dioecious. Aquatic animal, aquatic Annelida, it is the dioecious aquatic Annelida, and it is having the lateral appendages. What are they? They are the lateral appendages. It is having the lateral appendages. These lateral appendages in Nereis are known as the parapodia. The lateral appendages in Nereis are known as the parapodia, and these parapodias are helpful in swimming. So very important example you have to remember related with Annelida. See the picture carefully. I said Nereis. You have to remember one point, it is dioecious aquatic Annelida. Nereis is having the lateral appendages, that is parapodia, and these parapodias are helpful in swimming. So this is one very important example, because in Annelida we will see the variety of animals. Like if I will say Nereis, it is dioecious. Dioecious means unisexual. It means they are having the separate sexes. Male Nereis, okay, that is different from female Nereis. But if I will say another example of Annelida, that is the earthworm. Another example of Annelida, that is the leech. They both are the monoecious. Monoecious means bisexual. Bisexual means united sexes. They are also known as the hermaphrodite. So this is another point that you have to remember related with the Nereis and earthworm and leech, related with the here. Just see, very important example, Pheretima, known as the earthworm. Hirudinea, that is the blood sucking leech. One more example, very important, sea mouse, that is known as the Aphrodite. So this is about the Annelida that you have to remember. Arthropoda. Arthros means jointed. Poda means appendages. So if I will say what you have to remember, arthropoda. Arthros means jointed. Poda means appendages. So if I will say what are the two common characters which are present in all arthropods without exception? What are the two common characters which are present in all arthropods? What are the two common characters which are present in all arthropods without exception? One is the chitinous exoskeleton. One is the chitinous exoskeleton and second one that is the jointed appendages. Jointed appendages. And there is one question that you have to remember, why the arthropodans are considered as the most successful group of animals. If the question is like this, why the arthropodans are considered as the most successful group of animals? Because of chitinous exoskeleton. What is this chitinous exoskeleton? It is made up of chitin. What is the function of chitin? It prevents dehydration. It prevents the loss of water. Loss of water. Second one, very important function, protection. It is related with the protection. It is related with the loss of water also. It prevents the loss of water. So this is the one, Arthropoda, known by us. What is the second? What is the largest phylum in animal kingdom? That is the Arthropoda. What is the largest class of animal kingdom? Insecta. Insecta. Insecta, that is also known as the Hexapoda. Insecta, that is also known as the Hexapoda. Insecta, that is one very important class. I think everyone knows about the Insecta. Insecta is known as the Hexapoda. Hexapoda. What is the characteristic feature of phylum class Insecta? What is the characteristic feature of class Insecta? That is the three pairs of jointed legs. Three pairs of jointed legs and two pairs of wings. Three pairs of jointed legs and two pairs of wings is a characteristic feature of class Insecta. Three pairs of legs, it means total 6 legs are there. That is why the Insecta is also known as the Hexapoda. Class Insecta is also known as the Hexapoda because it is having the 3 pairs of legs. Largest phylum of animal kingdom, Arthropoda. Largest class, Insecta. Second largest phylum, Mollusca. Second largest class, Gastropoda. So these are the few points you have to remember. I already said what is the meaning of Arthropoda. Arthros means jointed, poda means appendages. They are having the jointed appendages, that is why they are known as the Arthropoda. Arthros means joint, poda means appendages. They are having the jointed appendages. So now, how to remember the examples of Arthropoda? That is one, economically important insects, because in Arthropoda what are included? Insects, but some of the insects they are providing us the employment, you can say like this. So economically important insects. First one, Apis indica, honeybee. The product of this is known as the honey. Honey, I think everyone in India once upon a life using the honey. So it is economically important insect. Related with the production of honey, there is one branch that is known as the apiculture. Apiculture, honeybee, related with the honeybee, apiculture. Okay, sericulture, sericulture, related with the production of silk. Sericulture, related with the production of silk. Bombyx mori, it is known as the silk moth, related with the production of silk, and Bombyx mori, it is known as the silk moth. Laccifer lacca, it is known as the lac insects. So there are 3 economically important insects. One that is the Apis, honeybee, apiculture, Bombyx mori, sericulture, silk, lac culture. Now, insects are very dangerous. They are the vectors of diseases also, like Anopheles mosquito. I think everyone is knowing about the malaria. Plasmodium is carried by female Anopheles mosquito. Culex mosquito is also there. Then Aedes mosquito is also there. Dengue. Aedes aegypti, dengue fever. Clear? Now, there is one very dangerous gregarious pest, locust. Okay, gregarious pest. Gregarious means it is living in groups. Gregarious means it is living in groups. It is living in groups and it is very harmful for the paddy fields. That is gregarious pest. Okay. One living fossil, need not remember. Crayfish astragalus, nothing to remember. Now we are coming on the next phylum, that is known as the mollusca. The meaning of mollusca means soft bodied animals. They are the soft bodied animals. Molluscan are the soft bodied animals. They are unsegmented. They are having the open circulatory system. Clear? And very important terms related with the mollusca for NEET exam, radula. When you will read the NCERT, you will get a term that is known as the radula. Radula, rasping organ present in mollusca. Radula, very important, you have to remember. They are having one cavity known as the mental cavity. And in this mental cavity they are having a specific structure known as the feather-like gills. These feather-like gills are known as the ctenidia. Feather-like gills are known as the ctenidia, which are helpful in respiration. Plus excretion. If you will read NCERT carefully, they have given that ctenidia are related with excretion also. Okay, so this is one very important mental cavity. In the mental cavity, they are having the feather-like gills. This is the one very important. And the body of mollusca, they are the soft bodied animals, so their body is covered by a shell which is made up of calcium carbonate, plus there is a type of protein conchiolin. That is by the study of shell in mollusca known as the conchology. Conchology. We have to discuss a lot of examples related with the mollusca. They are very common in NEET exam. Pila is known as the apple snail. Pila is known as the apple snail. Pinctada vulgaris. Yes, very important. Pinctada vulgaris. It is known as the Indian pearl oyster. Pinctada vulgaris, known as the Indian pearl oyster. Sepia is known as the cuttlefish. Loligo is known as the squid. Octopus having the 8 arms, short octopus, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it is the octopus, 8 arms are there. Octopus, it is known as the devilfish. Aplysia looking like hair, so it is the sea hare. Dentalium, it is known as the elephant tusk shell. The body of dentalium, it is present in a shell which is tubular cell, and this tubular cell is open at both the ends. So it is looking like a tusk, means teeth of the elephant. Dentalium. Chaetopleura, chiton, another example we have to remember. So these are the different examples of phylum mollusca. After it, there is another phylum that is again exclusively marine. That is the Echinodermata. They are the spiny bodied animals. See, Arthropoda, jointed appendages. Mollusca, soft bodied animals. Then I said that Echinodermata, spiny bodied animals. You have to remember first example, Asterias, starfish. Very important, you have to remember in Echinodermata, one point is very important that you have to remember about the symmetry. Larva of Echinodermata, they are having the bilateral symmetry. Very important for NEET, they are having the bilateral symmetry. Adult Echinodermata, they are having the radial symmetry. They are having the pentamerous. They are having the pentamerous radial symmetry. They are having the pentamerous radial symmetry. Pentamerous radial symmetry. Pentamerous means divided into two equal half in how many planes? 5 planes. Asterias, starfish. Echinus, sea urchin. Getting? Antedon, feather star. Cucumeria, sea cucumber. Ophiura, bitter star. You have to remember these examples. Now, I am coming on the last phylum of non-chordata, that is the hemichordata, half chordates. Very interesting point that you have to remember about hemichordata, that is written previously hemichordata included in chordata. Previously hemichordata included as a subphylum of chordata. Why? Because they were thinking that they are having the notochord. Basically in hemichordata, a structure is present that is known as the stomochord. What is the name of the structure? Stomochord. Stomochord. So they were thinking that it is the notochord. After recognizing that stomochord is different and notochord is different, they removed hemichordata from that subphylum, from that phylum chordata, and now hemichordata is placed as a separate phylum under non-chordata. So why previously they included as a subphylum of chordata? Because in them stomochord is present, and they were considering that stomochord is similar as the notochord, but notochord is different, stomochord is different. So related with the hemichordata, you have to remember first example, Balanoglossus, known as the tongue bomb or acorn bomb. It is looking like the tongue, so it is the tongue bomb or acorn bomb. Second one, Balanoglossus, animals of this phylum are commonly known as the tongue bomb. Saccoglossus, Balanoglossus, all. Okay. So in this way we have completed remaining 5 phylums of non-chordata. I will just see. We have discussed 10 phylum till time: Porifera, Coelenterata, Ctenophora, Platyhelminth, Eschhelminth, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata. Next phylum, that is the chordata, and that will be said by my colleagues. So they will say about the chordates. We will meet again with the cockroach and frog. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. All the best. Thank you.